I collected coins for months to buy her a ring, dreaming she would smile with pride, but when I finally slipped it on her finger, she pulled her hand away and said she could never marry someone like me. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. because sleep won't come anymore. My fingers shake as I type, but I need to get this out before it destroys what's left of me. 6 months ago I was counting quarters in a mason jar like some kid saving for a bicycle. Except I was 28 working 2 jobs and dreaming of the moment Sarah would see that ring. Every coin clinked into that jar with a promise, every double shift at the warehouse, every weekend driving for rideshare apps. All for her. The ring cost $3,247. I know because I counted every dollar 17 times. Sarah deserved better than my broke college student proposal I'd been promising for 3 years. She deserved something that would make her friends gasp, make her mother finally approve of me, make her see I was worth the wait. I should have proposed the day I bought it. Instead I held onto it for 2 weeks, planning the perfect moment. That's when Emma started texting. Emma from my old job. Emma who'd moved across the country. Emma who said she was coming back to town for one night. Emma who remembered our connection from 2 years ago when I was single and just coffee, she said. To catch. I told it was nothing. I told Sarah didn't need to know about an innocent coffee with an old friend. I told a lot of lies that night, but it wasn't coffee, it was dinner. It was her hand on mine across the table. It was me not pulling away when every fiber of my being knew I should. It was me forgetting about the ring burning a hole in my nightstand drawer. It was me choosing momentary excitement over the woman who'd stood by me through unemployment, through my father's, through every breakdown and breakthrough of the last 5 years. 3 hours. That's all it took to destroy everything I'd been building. I came home to Sarah asleep on our couch, my favorite book open on her chest. She'd been reading it to understand the stories I loved. The ring box sat on my nightstand like evidence of who I used to be before I became this person. She knew immediately the next morning. I saw it in how she looked at me over coffee, how she pulled back when I tried to her goodbye. Women always know, they just wait to see if I'll be honest. I wasn't. For 3 weeks, I lived with that in my chest. 3 weeks of her asking if everything was okay. 3 weeks of me lying through my teeth while planning a proposal like some kind of psychopath. 3 weeks of her trying to fix whatever was wrong between us while I sat on the secret that would end us. The night I finally proposed, she was wearing the yellow dress I bought her for her birthday. We were at the park where we had our first date. I got down on one knee under the same tree where she'd first told me she loved me. Sarah Michelle Rodriguez. I said, my voice cracking like I was 13 again. Will marry me. She looked at the ring. Really looked at it. Her eyes filled with tears, and for one beautiful second, I thought they were happy tears. Then she said, been cheating on me. Not a question. A statement, like she was telling me the sky was blue. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. I can smell her perfume on jacket. I found the receipt from Romano's in pocket. Took her to our restaurant. Her voice was steady, surgical. Bought me this ring to cover what did. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to lie one more time. Instead, I just knelt there like and holding a ring that suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds. 3 years, she whispered. 3 years of me believing my parents. Of me turning down other guys cause I was waiting for this moment. She took the ring from the box. Held it to the light. How much did this cost? Sarah, please. How much? $3,000, I whispered. She nodded slowly. $3,000 of guilt money. $3,000 spent trying to buy forgiveness for something I didn't even know I needed to forgive. She slipped the ring onto her finger. For one insane moment, I thought maybe. Then she pulled it off and into the pond. I could never marry someone like, she said. Someone who thinks love is something can purchase after I've already sold it to someone else. She walked away, just like that. 5 years together, and she walked away in the yellow dress I'd bought her, leaving me kneeling in the dirt with my empty hands and my empty promises. That was 2 months ago. I've been sleeping on my brother's couch ever since. Sarah moved out of our apartment 3 days after the proposal. Took her books, her plants, her Lothar, everything that made our place feel like home. Left behind the coffee maker I bought her for Christmas and a note that said, I hope Emma was worth it. She wasn't. Emma stopped responding to my texts after that night. Turns out she just wanted to see if she could still have me. Mission accomplished. I've called Sarah 47 times. She's answered twice. Once to tell me to stop calling. Once to tell me she's seeing someone new. Someone who doesn't lie to her. Someone who doesn't need to buy forgiveness in monthly installments. My friends won't look me in the eye anymore. They all love Sarah. Half of them had crushes on her before she chose me. Now they see me as the guy who had everything and it away for nothing. My mother asks about Sarah every Sunday. I keep making excuses. I don't have the heart to tell her that her future daughter-in-law is gone because her son is a coward and a liar. The worst part, I still have the receipt for the ring. It's in my wallet, next to a picture of Sarah laughing at something I said. I can't throw either away. They're proof that I was once someone worth loving, before I decided to become someone else. Tonight I drove by our old apartment. She's got new curtains. Yellow ones, like the dress she was wearing when I destroyed us both. The light was on in the kitchen where we used to make breakfast together on Sunday mornings. Where she used to dance while waiting for the coffee to brew. Where she used to tell me about her dreams of our future children, our dog, our together. Someone else was in there with her. I saw his shadow move across the window. I saw her laugh at something he said. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, watching that away continue without me. Watching her be happy with someone who probably never made her doubt his love. Someone who probably proposed without $3,000 of guilt weighing down his pocket. I'm 28 years old, and I've learned that some mistakes don't get fixed with money or time or desperate late-night phone calls. Some mistakes just get carried forever, like scars that ache when it rains. I collected coins for months, dreaming of the moment she would smile with pride. Instead I handed her the most expensive reminder of my betrayal and watched her throw it into dark water like the metal it always was. Some rings are promises. Mine was just evidence. It's been 4 months since the proposal that ended everything. I thought the worst was behind me. I was wrong, Sarah told everyone. Not out of spite. Sarah doesn't have a vindictive in her body. She told everyone because they asked, because mutual friends kept congratulating her on Facebook about our engagement. Because her sister kept texting about wedding plans. Because my own mother called her 3 weeks after I moved out, asking when they should start planning the bridal shower. Sarah could have lied. Could have said we grew apart or wanted different things. Instead she told the truth. And the truth spread through our social circle like wildfire through dry grass. I found out at Mike's birthday party. The party I almost didn't go to because I knew Sarah would be there. The party where I showed hoping maybe we could be civil, maybe even friendly. The moment I walked in, conversations died. 20 people stopped talking and stared at me like I'd walked into a funeral wearing clown shoes. Mike pulled me aside before I could even grab a dude, what they were thinking. Sarah had told them. All of them, it was a mistake. I stammered. A mistake? Jessica, Sarah's college roommate, appeared beside us like an angry ghost. A mistake is forgetting to pick milk. Cheating on the woman we're about to propose to is a choice. The entire party was listening now. Not even pretending to have other conversations. Saved for months for that ring. Said Tom, my former best friend. Sarah showed us pictures of the jar kept quarters in. She thought it was romantic. She used to brag about how hard we're working for her. My stomach dropped. She showed pictures. She was proud of. She took a selfie with that jar because she was so excited that we're finally ready to propose. I remembered that picture. Sarah grinning next to my mason jar of coins, making a heart with her hand. She'd posted it with the caption, "My man's been saving for something special." 43 likes. Her mother even commented with heart emojis. Where is she? I asked, looking around the room. She left when she saw carpool, Jessica said coldly. She's not ready to see yet, may never be, but she's okay. She's dating Marcus now. The room tilted. Marcus, Sarah's coworker from the nonprofit, the guy she'd mentioned in passing a few times. The guy who volunteered at animal shelters on weekends and spoke 3 languages. They've been together for 6 weeks, Jessica continued, and I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. He already met her parents, they love him. 6 weeks. 6 weeks after our 5-year relationship ended, she was already introducing someone new to her family. Someone who probably never made her question his loyalty. Someone who didn't need to hide behind coins and guilt. Look man, Mike said, his voice softer now. We've all been friends for years. But what did Sarah's family know? We can't just pretend it didn't happen. I understood. In our friend group, Sarah was the heart. She remembered everyone's birthdays, organized game nights, made sure nobody felt left out. She was the one who drove Jessica to the hospital at 2 a.m. when she had appendicitis. She was the one who helped Tom move 3 times without complaint. I was just Sarah's boyfriend. Without her I was nobody to them. I left the party after 10 minutes, drove home to my brother's couch and stared at the ceiling until sunrise. But the humiliation was just beginning. Work became a nightmare. I'd made the mistake of talking about Sarah constantly for 5 years. My coworkers knew everything about her. They knew about her job at the animal rescue. They knew about her grandmother's recipe she'd make me when I was sick. They knew I'd been saving for a ring. When I stopped talking about her, they started asking questions. How's Sarah? When's the big day? Did she say yes? Each question was a twist. Each explanation was another admission of failure. Word spread through the office like gossip always does, and soon I was that guy. The cheater. The one who away the perfect girlfriend. Linda from accounting cornered me by the coffee machine one morning. My daughter's been following Sarah on Instagram, she said without preamble. She looks happy with that new boyfriend of hers. I poured my coffee in silence. Took her to that art gallery downtown last weekend. Posted pictures of them laughing together. She paused, studying my face. Sarah never posted pictures with pipe. She was right. Sarah was private about our relationship online. A few pictures here and there, but mostly she kept us between us. I used to think it was sweet. Now I wondered if part of her always knew I wasn't worth showing off. The Instagram stalking started that night. I created an account just to see. Sarah's profile was mostly pictures of rescue animals and her artwork, but there were 3 new photos that made my chest cave in. Sarah and Marcus at the art gallery, Linda mentioned. Sarah laughing at something off camera while Marcus looked at her like she was a masterpiece. Sarah and Marcus at a farmer's market, sharing a funnel cake. Sarah and Marcus at what looked like a family dinner, him fitting seamlessly into a picture with her parents and sister. In 5 years I'd been exactly 4 family dinners. Her father barely tolerated me. Her mother asked pointed questions about my career plans. Her sister called me Sarah's project. Marcus looked like he belonged there, like he'd been part of their family for years instead of weeks. I scrolled through his profile too. Marathon runner, volunteer at 3 different charities, spoke fluent Spanish and French, posted thoughtful captions about social justice and environmental conservation. Everything I wasn't. The worst picture was Sarah wearing a yellow sundress, similar to the one she wore the night I proposed. She was looking at Marcus with the same expression she used to give me. Trust, adoration, love. I my phone across the room. The screen cracked, spider, webbing her face into fractured pieces. My brother found me crying on his kitchen floor at 2 a.m. Need to stop this? Dave said, sitting down beside me. Need to get help. I ruined everything. Yeah, did. And now we're making it worse by torturing Punk. She moved on so fast. Dave was quiet for a long moment. Then Sarah didn't move on fast. She moved on healthy. What do you mean? She grieved. She processed. She talked to people. She did the work to heal instead of just wallowing. He looked at me with something between pity and frustration. Or still stuck in the moment, made the choice to cheat. She's moved past the moment, broke her heart. I want her back. She doesn't want back, and honestly, good for her. Those words hit harder than anything Jessica or Mike had said. My own brother thought Sarah was better off without me. He was right. I started seeing a therapist the next week. Martinez asked me hard questions I didn't want to answer. Questions about why I cheated. Questions about what I thought love meant. Questions about whether I'd ever really known Sarah at all, or if I just loved the idea of being loved by someone like her. Collected coins, she said during our 3rd session. But what did collect of Sarah's heart? What did save of her dreams, her fears, her hopes? I couldn't answer. I'd spent months saving money for a ring, but I couldn't tell her what Sarah's biggest fear was. I knew she wanted children, but I didn't know how many. I knew she loved art, but I'd never asked about her favorite artists. I'd been so focused on the grand gesture that I'd forgotten about the daily gestures. The small moments that actually build a relationship. Wanted to propose. Darker Martinez continued. But did ever ask Sarah what kind of proposal she wanted? What would make her feel loved and understood? I hadn't. I'd planned my proposal, not ours. Just like I'd made the choice to cheat without thinking about her. Just like I'd saved for a ring without saving the emotional intimacy that should come with it. I was a stranger proposing to a woman I'd lived with for 5 years but never really known. 3 weeks ago I saw Sarah and Marcus at the grocery store. They were in the pasta aisle, debating between different of noodles like it was the most important decision in the world. She was laughing at something he said, completely relaxed, completely herself. I hid behind the cereal display like it and watched them shop together. Watched her point out her favorite brand of tomato sauce. Watched him remember her preference and grab 2 jars. Watched them move through the store like a team, like partners, like people who actually knew each other. I used to shop with Sarah. But I'd always just grab what I wanted, never thinking to ask her preferences, never thinking that grocery shopping could be an act of love if paid attention to what mattered to the other person. They looked happy. Not the desperate, clinging happiness of people trying to prove something. Just content, natural. Right. I left my cart in the cereal aisle and drove home. That night I deleted my Instagram account. Away the receipt for the engagement ring. Started the painful process of accepting that some chapters end without sequels. Sarah deserves someone who collects her favorite moments instead of spare change. Someone who knows her fears as well as her dreams. Someone who chooses her every single day instead of just once in a jewelry store. I thought I loved her, but love isn't just a feeling have. It's a choice make repeatedly, in small moments when nobody's watching. I made the wrong choice when it mattered most. And now I get to watch her make better choices with someone who deserves them. It's been 8 months since I weighed the best thing in my for 3 hours of attention from someone who never mattered. Today I found out Sarah is engaged, not from social media this time. I learned my lesson about digital self and deleted all my accounts months ago. I found out from my mother, who heard it from Mrs. Chen at the grocery store, who saw the announcement in the local paper. Sarah Rodriguez and Marcus Valdez are pleased to announce their engagement. Mom read over the phone, her voice careful and neutral. Wedding planned for next spring. 6 months. They'd been together 6 months and he proposed. It took me 3 years to even start saving for a ring, and this guy knew after half a year. I started, but she me off. She said quietly. Jesta. My mother loved Sarah like the daughter she never had. For 5 years Sarah called her every Mother's Day. Sarah remembered her birthday. Sarah sent thank cards after every holiday dinner and always brought homemade cookies. When I finally told Mom what happened, she didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. When she finally called, all she said was, I raised better than that. She was right, she did. I drove to the park where I proposed. Where Sarah the ring into the pond. Where my split into before and after. The ring is still down there somewhere, buried in mud and forgotten. $3,000 of guilt money feeding the fish. I sat under our tree and tried to remember what it felt like to be someone worth loving. Tried to remember the version of that Sarah fell for in college. The guy who wrote her terrible poetry and stayed all night talking about dreams. The guy who would have died before hurting her. I can't find him anymore. He's gone, drowned in the same water as that ring. A jogger ran past, then doubled back. Hey, aren't the guy who? I got and left before he could finish. Even strangers recognize me now as the cautionary tale. The guy who'd everything and it away. Last month I ran into Sarah's sister Maya at the coffee shop where Sarah and I had our first date. Maya saw me and her face went through a whole range of emotions: surprise, disgust, something that might have been pity. She's happy, Maya said without me asking. Really happy. Happier than I ever saw her with time. The words hit like physical blows. Marcus proposed at the animal shelter where she volunteers. Maya continued, and I knew she was trying to me. In front of all the rescue dogs she loves. He had them wearing little bow ties with letters that spelled out marry me. She cried for 20 minutes. A proposal that was about Sarah, about what she loves. My proposal was about my guilt and my timeline and my need for forgiveness. Even my grand gesture was selfish. He knows her, Maya said, studying my face. He knows she's terrified of thunderstorms and sleeps with a nightlight. He knows she won't eat strawberries because of that allergy scare when she was 8. He knows she wants 4 kids in a house with a big backyard for all her rescue dogs. 4 kids. In 5 years I never asked Sarah how many children she wanted. I assumed 2 because that seemed normal. I never asked about the backyard or the dogs or any of it. He asked Dad for permission 3 weeks before he proposed. Maya went on. Came to Sunday dinner and stayed after to help with dishes. Asked Dad about his intentions towards Sarah. Dad said it was the first time any of Sarah's boyfriends ever treated her like she was precious. I'd never asked her father for permission. Never thought I needed to. Sarah was an independent woman who could make her own choices, I'd told. Really, I'd just been afraid of her father's disapproval. Know what the worst part is? Maya's voice was getting louder now. Sarah defended for years. When Mom said weren't ambitious enough. When Dad said didn't treat her right. When I said took her for granted. She always said we didn't understand. Said just showed love differently. The coffee shop was watching now. The barista pretended to clean the same cup over and over. A couple at a corner table stared openly. She made excuses for right until the end, Maya said. Even after she found out about Emma, she blamed herself. Wondered what she could have done better. It took months of therapy for her to realize that cheating had nothing to do with her and everything to do with who are. I'm not. I started. Yes are. Maya said flatly. Or exactly who showed to be that night with Emma. Sarah just loved too much to see it before. She left me sitting there with my untouched coffee and the stares of strangers who now knew my story. That night I called Dr. Martinez for an emergency session. I can't stop thinking about her. I told her. 8 months later and I'm still stuck. What are stuck on exactly? The we could have had. The family we could have built. The person I could have been if I hadn't everything. Dr. Martinez leaned forward. Let me ask something. In all these months of missing Sarah, how many times have thought about what could have done to make her happier when we're together? I sat in silence. How many times have thought about what Sarah needed from that she wasn't getting? What her love language was? What made her feel secure and valued? More silence. We're not mourning Sarah, she said gently. or mourning the idea of being the kind of man who deserves someone like Sarah. But mourning isn't enough, have to actually become that man. How? By learning to love someone more than love the idea of being loved back. I've been thinking about that for weeks now. About the difference between loving someone and loving how they make feel about. I loved how proud I felt when other guys noticed Sarah. I loved how her laugh made me feel funny and charming. I loved how her belief in me made me feel capable of anything. But did I love Sarah? The real Sarah with her fears and flaws and complicated dreams? Or did I just love being Sarah's boyfriend? I think about Marcus knowing about her thunderstorm phobia and her strawberry allergy. About him asking her father for permission. About him proposing in a place that mattered to her, not just to him. That's love, paying attention to someone else's heart instead of just own. 2 weeks ago, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Marcus, can we meet for coffee?" My hand shook as I typed back. Why? Because Sarah's getting married in 3 months, and she's still carrying guilt about relationship ending. I want to help her let go that before our wedding day. We met at a neutral place across town. Marcus looked exactly like his Instagram photos. Tall, kind eyes, the sort of smile that made trust him immediately. Everything I wasn't. Sarah told me what happened, he said without preamble. She told me about Emma, about the proposal, all of it. I'm sorry, I said, because what else was there to say? I'm not here for apology. I'm here because the woman I love still flinches when I mention marriage. Still has nightmares about being betrayed. Still checks my phone sometimes when she thinks I'm not looking. My stomach clenched. She does that. Broke something in her. Marcus said, his voice steady but his eyes hard. Something fundamental about her ability to trust. She's been in therapy for months, working through it, but she still carries scars from what did. I never meant. I don't care what meant. I care about what did. And I care about helping her heal from it. He pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. She wrote a letter. She's been working on it with her therapist. She wanted me to give it to. My name was written on the front in Sarah's careful handwriting. She doesn't want a response, Marcus said. She doesn't want to see or hear from. This is her closure, not yours. I nodded, afraid to speak. But I want to know something. Marcus continued. What did to her almost broke her ability to love again. It took months of patience and therapy, and showing consistently before she could trust me enough to even hold my hand without panicking. He stood to leave, then turned back. Didn't just cheat on Sarah, stole years of her that she'll spend learning to trust again. Stole her innocence about love, stole her confidence in her own judgment. The ring bought was nothing compared to what actually cost her. I waited until he was gone before opening the letter. Dear, my name. I'm getting married in 3 months to a man who knows that I take my coffee with oat milk and no sugar. Who knows I read mystery novels when I'm anxious. Who knows I need exactly 8.5 hours of sleep to function. Who knows 1,000 tiny things about me that never learned in 5 years. I'm writing because my therapist says I need to say these things to fully move forward. Didn't know me. Loved an idea of me, a version of me that existed only in head. The real me was anxious about money and insecure about my art and scared to leave me for someone prettier. The real me needed reassurance and thoughtful gestures and proof that I mattered to beyond what I could give. Never saw the real me because we're too busy looking at. The night with Emma wasn't an accident or a moment of weakness. It was the inevitable result of 5 years of treating our relationship like something that existed for benefit. Saved coins for a ring, but never saved emotional intimacy. Never invested in actually knowing me. Marcus proposed after 6 months because he spent 6 months learning who I am. Took 5 years and still saw me as a prize to be won rather than a person to be loved. I forgive not because deserve it, but because carrying anger is making me into someone I don't want to be. Someone who can't fully love the man who does see me. Who does know me. Who does choose me every day. I hope someday learn the difference between loving someone and loving how they make feel about. I hope learn to see beyond own needs and fears. I hope find someone actually want to know, not just possess. But mostly I hope understand that love isn't something collect like coins in a jar. It's something built together day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. I 5 years waiting for to see me. I won't waste another second. Sarah P.S. I ring in the pond because it was never really for me. It was for guilt. Marcus proposed with his grandmother's ring because it connects me to his family, to his history, to his future. That's the difference between a guilty gesture and a loving one. I read the letter 17 times before the words stopped making me cry. She was right about everything. All of it. I never knew her coffee order. Never asked about her art or her fears or her dreams beyond the surface level. I shared a bed with her for 5 years, but I never really shared it with her. I collected coins for a proposal, but I never collected the moments that would have made the proposal meaningful. I never collected her trust, or her silly fears about thunderstorms. I saved money for a ring while letting our emotional account go bankrupt. Now she's marrying someone who spent 6 months learning her heart while I spent 5 years taking it for granted. The worst part isn't that I lost her. The worst part is that I never really had her to lose. I had a roommate who loved me despite not being loved back. I had someone who gave her whole heart to someone who was only offering pieces of his. I'm 29 now. I live alone in a studio apartment across town. I work my warehouse job and go to therapy twice a week and try to learn how to love people instead of just wanting to be loved by them. Some nights I drive past that pond and think about the ring down there in the mud. $3,000 worth of metal and guilt, feeding the algae and the fish. But it was never about the money, it was about the time, the attention, the choice to really see someone and love them anyway. I collected coins for months to buy her a ring, dreaming she would smile with pride. But when I finally slipped it on her finger, she pulled her hand away and said she could never marry someone like me. And she was right. She deserved someone better than who I was. She found him. Some mistakes don't teach how to do better next time. Some mistakes just teach what lost by not knowing how to love when it mattered most.